Hey gang, welcome back to Let's Level Up. My name is Rick, and today on the table we're going to be talking Dastardly Dirigibles by Mr. Justin DeWitt of Fireside Games. Dastardly Dirigibles is a set-matching steampunk game where we basically trying to build the coolest airship. And it's really neat. There's some take that's going on in this game, and it's actually a really, really cool one. I believe it plays up to 5 players, and I think anybody can really have a good time playing this game. The theme is really cool, the artwork is awesome, and it's just a really cool, fun way. So why don't you follow me down to the table, I'll show you a bit of how it's played, show you some of the components, and then we'll come right back here and I'll give you my final thoughts.
Here we have the box for Dastardly Dirigibles. This, again, is a game for 2 to 5 players, ages 8 and up. It is a set-matching game designed by Justin DeWitt of Fireside Games. And just to take a look at the box, it's a pretty standard box, but the artwork, I think, really shines through in this game. And it kind of gives you a really good idea. I mean, it's good marketing, I think, at the end of the day, but it gives you a good idea of how it's played and what you're going to be doing throughout the game, and that is constructing our airship. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get things set up. We're just going to do kind of a one-player run, just so you can get an idea of how the game is going to play it, and then we're going to take a look at some of the cool actions that this game is going to bring. At the end of the day, it's basically a 7-set collection that we're trying to do, maximizing the points throughout the thing. And to do that, we want to group like pieces of the same type of airship. And we want to basically make sure that we're making sure our opponents are not doing that. The game time is about an hour, and I think that's pretty fair. This one can kind of go on for a bit, especially if we have more players, and there's a lot of back and forth going on. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way, and then we'll show you what the sample player mat's going to look like, and how to draw cards and play them onto your mat and whatnot. So here we go. The first thing that we're going to do to get started is to start the Emporium. And to do that, basically it's going to determine who's going to go first. And also, it lets you build an area where you can draw knowing what you're going to get, which is a really cool mechanic. So to do that, we're going to draw 1 card for each player playing the game. Let me just scoot these up a little bit. So let's say we're playing with 3 players. Each player's going to draw 1 card, and you're going to lift them up. So here we have a drive engine and a tail. So you're going to essentially the first player is going to be whoever drew closest to the nose cone. So I drew a lift engine, player 2 drew a drive engine, and player 3 drew a tail. So I would essentially be able to go first. Then all players are going to get their starting hands dealt to them, which are 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for argument's sake. And this is going to represent what we're going to be able to play. Now you can see that each kind of card has a couple unique things here that I want to point out. The first is going to be the type of airship that it is. Now there are all sorts of different kinds designated by these different symbols, all generated around the steampunk genre. There's even a wild category as well. But this determines your bonus. So if you start playing these gears, you're going to want to make sure you keep the gears going as a running theme. Since I have 2 of the gear icons, maybe I want to start my airship would be that. I also have a area here that is going to be designated on our plan. So let me just pick up the mat really quick and show you that. So we have the lift engine and the drive engine, the gondola front, the nose cone, and another gondola front. So if we grab our mat, what I like about this map, it gives you a rundown of the different actions, but it also shows us a blueprint of our airship and lets you know all of the locations there. So you can see the nose cone, the gondola front, gondola rear, drive engine, lift engine, and then finally the tail. So when we look at that, let me just zoom out here. So we take a closer look there. When I play a card, for instance, if I wanted to play on my turn the gondola front card here and the nose cone, I can have that set up. So I've got my mats are kind of bent. You probably want to have something that'll flatten those out a little bit. But basically what we're going to be doing, let's see, do I have a lift engine? We're going to be playing cards until we have our entire airship is going to be locked out. Right? So each turn when we start playing cards, we're going to have 3 actions to perform. And those actions are the following. The first action, I can play a card. Basically at the start of my turn, I want to draw, make sure that I have 5 cards in my hand. On my actions, I'm going to be able to play an airship card. So when I play an airship card, I choose one of the airship cards from my hand and play them. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and play the gondola front, that is the gear here, so that we can go ahead and kind of start our airship going. We're also could be able to discard a card. So maybe I don't need an extra gondola front. I can go ahead and discard that into the discard pile. I can also swap one of the cards from my hand with one that's in the Emporium. So I don't have a tail icon, excuse me, a tail card. So maybe instead of discarding that card, I would swap out my extra gondola front here for the tail. I can also swap cards to make sure that my opponents aren't getting the sets that they need. I can also replace the Emporium completely, so we basically swipe everything out and then draw new Emporium cards as part of our action. So here we have the wrench tail, the goggles, and then finally another wrench here for the gondola rear. Our final action is to simply pass that we can do. So if there's nothing we need to do, we can pass and then play proceeds to the next player. There are also other cards that we can play as part of our action. The action cards, we'll go ahead and show those a little bit later in the video. One of the things that's going to happen is we're going to play basically 3 rounds of this game. And the round ends is when the first player completes their airship. So let's see if we have the cards here to get this going. So at the end of the round, all airships are going to score even incompleted ones. So everybody will be making at least some points throughout the game. To start with, when you score an airship, you're going to find the suit that was the most commonly used to build the airships. You can see I've got 2 of the gears and 2 of the wrench icons. So either one of those would score. You can only score 1 suit. So again, the ties, you just pick one. Wild cards are always going to count as the most common suit, but a player only scores 1 point for each wild card used, so that would be a point there. If you happen to have an incomplete airship and have no common pairs, meaning they're all empty and there's no wild cards used, you get 1 point per card used. You could even score the elusive muddle, and a muddle is when you have one piece of each category, and you have no repeats, and that would be a total of 20 fixed points. So you can actually get with you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if a complete set's going to get you 14 points if they are all matching, and if you have any wilds in there, they would count as 1 point. A muddle is going to give you 20 points. So that's by far the most points you're going to get until you start factoring in bonus points. The player that completed their airship first first ended the round receives 2 points. Any other player completed the airship receives 1 bonus point. If a player has a gilded dynamometer card in their hand, they received 1 point as well. So I guess the max score you're ever going to get is still 20, but you could get 17 on a non-muddle run. You're going to keep playing this game until you have 3 complete rounds, but really what makes this game kind of interesting is that there's a bit of take that built in the effect of these cards. So let's take a look at each of these action cards here and see how they can potentially change the game. Alright, the first card we have is the Machination, and this allows us to perform 1 additional action whenever this card is played. We have Transmutation as well. Transmutation says when an opponent plays an airship part, play this card and any airship part from your choice from your hand to your airship. So that is going to allow you to basically play things that aren't on your hand. Aren't on your turn. Black Market. Black Market allows us to search the discard pile for 1 card of our choice and then add it to our hand. Again, I really, really love the artwork here. The Gold Dynaminators is going to give you 1 point at the end of the round if you have it in your hand. So you're going to make sure you keep that there. Prestidigitation is just discard as many cards as you wish. You may then draw up to a full hand. That's optional. The Magnetic Trap. I really like this one. It says declare 1 airship part or suit. All players must give you 1 matching card from their hand if able. So if I'm trying to stack the gears here on my airship, I can play that Black Market card, the Magnetic Trap, and say I need gears, and then everybody, if they have them, has to give you 1 over. Okay. We also have Espionage. Espionage says swap one part of your airship with one part from the same player or from a player's airship. So if I have a nose cone that's not matching and somebody else has mine, I can go ahead and swap that out. The Aether Extractor is another really interesting card. It says draw 3 cards from the draw pile. If you play one of them directly into your airship, you may keep 2. You may keep the other 2. If not, you must discard all 3. So a way for you to get a lot more cards. There's the Tesla Disintegrator. Discard 1 airship part from your hand. Your opponents must discard 1 of that same part from their airships. So if you have an extra nose in your hand and everyone's got noses, you discard this and then all the noses go away. The Grappling Hook's another fun card. You choose a player, you get to take 3 cards at random from their hand, choose 1 to keep, and then return the other 2. The Saboteur, another really fun, take that card. Choose a player, that player must discard 1 card of your choice from their airship. So a way to keep that going. Thief, this allows you to take 1 part of your choice from another player's airship and add it to your hand. And that's it. So these cards are going to be shuffled into the Dastardly Dirigibles deck, and you'll be having those as you play the game. But again, remember, what you're trying to do here is to complete that set. So, I mean, that is a very basic look at how the game is played. The more players you get on this thing, the more crazier it's going to be. But let's go back to the game room. I'll give you my final thoughts here.
Well, that is it for Dastardly Dirigibles, and I think this game is a very, very big win for us here at Let's Level Up. I'm a big fan of all of Fireside's game because there's just so much passion and play testing and passion and play testing that is involved with these. If you've ever had a conversation with Justin, you see how crazy he can be and how passionate he can be about his games. And I mean crazy in the in the most loving term. This is a really cool set matching games. I think set matching games are really good family games. They're really good games for starting people into the hobby because we've played them throughout all of our lives with games like Go Fish and things like those. There's so many 52 card deck games that are set matching games. This is just another one of those. The theme, of course, is a really neat steampunk theme, and there's a lot of cool take that's built into it. And the fact that you're building an airship of 7 spaces, I think is really good. If it was just 5 spaces, I don't know if it would be as good. So there's a really interesting thing there with just the number of spaces that the airship are. These are huge contraptions, and I think they're really, really neat. Artwork is absolutely fantastic. I love it. I'm not a huge steampunk guy. Maybe I am because I really love this game so much. But historically, I have not been just into that sort of the universe. Outside of things like Firefly and whatnot, but those are more space operas than anything. This is a really cool one. It plays a little long. If I could wrap it up in a half hour, I think it'd be really good. But since we are playing 3 rounds, it's easy to cut those down to 2 rounds, right? Or even just play a round of the game when you're learning it. When I demo this to people, we just play 1 round and they get the kind of hang of things. And then afterwards, a lot of times, like, yeah, let's play the full game now. And whether we keep going or we start over. This is a really good one. So if you haven't yet got your hands on a copy of Dastardly Dirigibles, please do yourself a favor, add it to your shelf. For us, it's a must-have. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. Tell all your friends about Let's Level Up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much, and until next time, game on.